Welcome back to the channel. Today we're making a beat with the MPC Key 37, and we're only going to be using the sounds inside of the Key 37. So I have a brand new project opened up here, and I think what I'm going to start out with is maybe some studio strings. Let's go sampler strings. Let's see what these sounds like. By the way, I have a sustain pedal hooked up, so I can sustain the notes. Let's actually edit this. There is some interesting options within these instruments, like for instance, the flavor settings, which admittedly might not be for everyone, but we can always add a bit more character to stuff. Maybe add some flutter. So I'm thinking about going to the sampler and resampling this directly. So if I go over to the inputs, change it to resample left and right, this allows me to sample anything that's coming out of the mains for the MPC. So I could just play some strings, sample it, and then chop that up. So let's do that. It was 20 seconds right there. I probably should have extended that, but it's okay. We'll call this string sample. We're gonna keep that and let's edit that. We're gonna go into chop mode. And then if we start playing this, we can actually start throwing some chops in there. Yeah, that works. So let's tighten this up a bit. Convert to a new drum program. Now we go drum program, string sample. Now before we sequence something with that, I'm thinking maybe throw some effects on there. First thing is maybe some air tube drive to dirty it up even further. Just a bit of grit added to it. And then, even more grit, I'm going to put Air Flavor Pro to do even more processing. So specifically, I'm thinking the pitch wobble. So let's, I'm just going to take this initial patch right here and bring the gain down to 0. Let's turn off timbre, vinyl, and distortion, just hear pitch right now. Maybe slow it down. Stereoize it a bit. So that's already sounding interesting. Now, we'll add a bit more distortion as well. Bring the smooth mix. Turn it down a bit. Already getting a bit more hair in there. Let's do some digital distortion as well. So the sample rate, bring that up, make the bits around 8-bit. Smooth this out, bring it down. Now it's a bit too much, so I'm gonna bring that down. A little bit of glitch in there. Now let's throw some vinyl effect on there. So with vinyl stuff, I don't really like pops and clicks, because when I hear that, I'm thinking the audio interface is having issues or something. So I'll turn down the noise and I'll turn up the crackle a bit. Make sure it's stereo, and I'll usually turn down the tone. Yeah, and then the release, I actually want the release to be longer. So that way there's more trail off, in case you wanted the effect of it actually being a record that was playing. Yeah, like you can still hear some noise right there. And then with the volume, I actually do like the volume dropouts here. I think they can be interesting, but I usually have it maybe roughly there for the rate, then the dropouts. So that sounds like too much, but when you back it off to about 50%, got a nice broken recording now. Let's turn the speaker on. This one's always kind of hit or miss. I don't know if I use this too often. Sometimes I do. Yeah. Relatively subtle effect for the Studio Large. Basically an EQ curve being applied. Alright. I don't know what tempo I want, but maybe something like that. That ends up being around 90 something, 93, 94 or so. Let's maybe do 94. And then I'm going to sequence it. Slow down a little bit. I'm going to grab a kit. I've been chopping up this one particular sample quite a bit for my drums. And I just like the way it feels because it feels like an acoustic 70s kit. I'm going to take time correction down a bit. I'm going to put on eighth notes. Yeah, and so we have a bit of feel right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the swing, maybe 56. I'll drop the strength down to 50, and I'll keep it on 16th notes for the time correction here. These are hats, eighth notes specifically. So I'm just going to say hats eighth right there. And I'm going to record some drums. Now I want some 16th hats right here. I'm not really good at finger drumming the 16th hats, so I prefer to use the note repeat for this. And what I'll do is I'll put on 16th and I'll keep the time correction with the 56 on the swing. And then you get a little bit of that vibe going on. But what I do is just sprinkle it in. Bit of like variation being thrown in. Now we need a bass. So let's go back to our plugins here. By the way, with that string sample loaded, we're using up 42% of the memory. Now, if I wanted to reclaim some of that memory back, I would just delete that plugin. Like for instance, the Studio String plugin right here. If I now switch it to, let's go mini D, say bass mini thump. Now, if I look at the memory, 11%. So just unloaded all those samples out of memory. So the old mini D. So pretty much this is what I always end up doing here. I get rid of the delay, bring that down. The feedback, roughly around there, which is good. For me though, I still want this to growl a bit. So I almost always throw an air tube drive on top of it. This kind of goes with all basses really that I'm programming inside the MPC. Just clipped a little bit. Yeah, I feel like that gets me closer to the actual like analog feel of a real mini Moog. So. Double this so we have 8 bars now, 2 revolutions of this, because I want the bass line to repeat but subtly be different. We need to stick with the 16th notes. I think I'm going to stick with 56. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take time correction off on this one because I might want to retain as much of that feel as possible and then maybe individually time correct notes afterwards. Maybe. I might change my mind afterwards, but let's find out. So I definitely screwed up some rhythm right there in the middle, but I liked the overall performance and how it felt. So I'm actually going to go through and see what I want to fix. This stuff right here, this needs to be fixed. So I'm gonna go time correction on here. I'm gonna throw the strength up, turn it on and say do it. And this guy, I'm actually going to put it right on the 16th. Yeah, and then this is a mess right here, but I liked the idea of what I played. I'm gonna get this stuff, I'm gonna time correct this, like so. Let's see how that feels. It's definitely more time consuming to do this, but I find when something has more swing to it, it's a little bit better to go in and be surgical about the notes. So we need to add the mother ducker here. Now I'm gonna go edit my kick here. I think I have my kick. It does not have the mother ducker on there. No, okay, cool. So I'm gonna put the mother ducker input. So go dynamics, mother ducker input. And then I'm going to go back over to the bass, which I should name this bass. And we'll go to Mother Ducker. Now, let's play that. So, I want more. So I'm going to drop the threshold on this kick. And take the auto gain off. Got something right there. Now, am I feeling another synthesizer or am I feeling something else like maybe a piano? Maybe let's go piano. Let's try that first. So I'm going to make a new plugin here. We'll go over sounds. We'll go stage piano. I actually really like the atmospheric stage pianos on here. In fact, let's try heavily processed. Takes a little bit to load up. Let's try this. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling some improv type of stuff. Memory, 32%. All right, I'm gonna call this piano. Now I'm going to double the sequence again, 16 bars right there. Because with the piano, I feel like if I hear the piano repeat too often in a 4 or 8 bar context, I feel like my brain picks up on that too easily. So 16 bars gives enough time for like phrases to develop and still be in like a loop format. So take off the time correction because we want all the feel in this. Let's try it. Solo this piano, see what else we could do to it to grime it up. And sure enough, I am going to throw that air tube drive because I want more dirt in there. Take down the output volume. Go Air Flavor Pro again on there. Let's modify it a bit. Shrink the width. Hear that in context. It's pretty cool. Mother Ducker in this as well, on the piano. Now let's do a synthesizer. Let's go over to Jura. Not sure what I want. Maybe let's try synths, bright steel. Synth brass. Strings. Washi. Yeah, I don't know what I want. Kind of like this. Yeah, maybe some sort of arpeggio inspired type of thing. I'm gonna crank the volume on it. By the way, I am not paying attention to my master bus on here, and I'm positive it's clipping. Yeah. So, this is not a mixing session. I normally mix my beats way after the fact. In fact, I don't even mix my beats until I think I'm gonna do something with them. I know a lot of people work differently. A lot of people mix as they go, but for me, I make a lot of beats and not all of them get used, so I don't even spend time on mixing stuff initially. Generally, I try to capture ideas, and then if the ideas are vibing afterwards, then we do something with them. So we do need time correction on this, so I'm gonna turn this on. And actually, I think I'm gonna go, yeah, we'll go 100%. Maybe turn the swing down just a bit, but maybe keep a little bit. And let's see if we can improv something here. Turn up the VCF modulation control for the pitch bend on here. Yeah. Something like that. I think that works. So now I'm gonna hit overdub and record that automation into what I just did. Right now, the Jura ARP and the piano are kind of like competing with each other, which in hindsight, I probably would have adjusted those. Or maybe one would come in, the other one would come in after the end of it. So could be something like that in an arrangement point of view. To round things off, we'll get one more plugin here. So I ended up going to Frabic XL and going to the electric guitar presets and grabbed Edge for, obviously Edge, the famous guitarist from U2. I think I'm just gonna add some support and see how it feels. At this point, I would probably take a step back and then come back in a day and see if I'm feeling it or not, or show it to Meems, see if she has a melody or something that is sparked, and probably build out an arrangement, something simple initially, like maybe the strings come in first with maybe some hats, then some piano comes in, you know, then maybe some arp. Back and forth. Then we can bring in the kick and bass. Then bring the piano back. Both Jura and piano. And then now we're gonna take away the strings and put the guitars. Bring piano back in. Now I'll take out the kick and snare. Sample and kick. Oops. Could be something like that. But generally speaking, for me, I like to step back for at least a day to see how I'm feeling, because usually ideas that have a certain feel one way will feel different the next day. And I feel like the fresh perspective is always golden for that. Same thing for mixing. That's pretty much why I don't really mix on the fly. Even though I could, technically, I'll hear things different for sure the next day. Typically, it's better to have the fresh perspective with the ears. Yeah, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you are planning on picking up any studio gear like an MPC Key 37 or synthesizers or guitars or anything like that, if you use our affiliate links below, then it helps out the channel. So thank you very much if you do that. Thanks for making it to the end. I do appreciate that. And I'll see you next time for another one. Peace.